So I woke up this morning and I checked my phone. What was Twitter is now this letter, and so I absolutely hate this, and every time I look at it, I'm thinking to myself, that's not Twitter, what is that? Why is Elon Musk changing one of the most recognizable icons and names in social media? Well, all of it goes back to 1999 when Elon bought X.com, the domain. Initially was going to use the domain for the startup company PayPal, which he was the CEO of at the time, but the name X.com didn't stick for PayPal, and neither did Elon's position at the company, where PayPal and Elon parted ways. But in 2017, Elon Musk actually bought the rights back to X.com because I guess PayPal technically owned the name even though they weren't using it, which I am not surprised by because I definitely have a core memory where I was looking up every letter of the alphabet for my Wix website. He's been holding on to X.com all this time, probably waiting for the perfect moment to use it, and in his mind, what better way to use it than to rebrand the entirety of Twitter into a brand new social media experience. And X is more than just a rebrand for Twitter. In fact, it's a change to the company's entire identity. Elon's obsession with X is not something new. I mean, there's the Tesla cars with the Model X, there's SpaceX, there's his newest company, XAI, even his kids have X's in their names. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce them. The point is, he uses X with everything. And speaking of everything, Elon's goal with this new Twitter is to make it into an everything app. And by that I mean like WeChat in China. Now, if you're not familiar with WeChat, WeChat is essentially WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all these different social media apps all rolled up into one, with the additional caveat of it also being a financial payment system where you can actually make bank deposits and stuff in it. Forgive me for my lack of knowledge of WeChat, is it's not really a thing in the US. You can technically join it from what I've read, but it's kind of weird. You have to have somebody recommend you to join it. It's almost like, I don't know, Clubhouse or something. Who uses Clubhouse? Does anyone use Clubhouse anymore? Anyway, Elon wants you to make memes and file taxes at the same time, in the same place, with X. And that's really interesting when you think about it. And according to Twitter's new CEO, the decision, quote, is the future state of unlimited interactivity centered in audio, video, messaging, payments / banking, blah, 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 blah. I don't think there's anything wrong with Twitter expanding the capabilities and features of its own app. It's not like its competitors haven't done the same thing. Instagram adopted their own forms of short form content like TikTok, stories like Snapchat. I mean, Instagram is even copying Twitter with a knockoff with Threads. The one thing I'll say about Threads, though, is at least Instagram is answering a long asked for feature from users, which is the ability to post Twitter-like content to Instagram. But with these changes to Twitter, they are very much changing what it means to be Twitter content. Twitter is basically copying every other platform, which is really ironic given their current lawsuit against Meta for copying their platform with Threads. A major problem, though, with trying to be an everything app is biting off more than you can chew. It's the quantity over quality problem. By creating an app with so much stuff, will people switch for convenience, or would they rather just stick to the apps that they know, which all specialize in given types of content? TikTok has been copied left and right, but none of the competitors have really taken down the giant and even gotten close to doing so. I would argue that's because TikTok has mastered how to create and produce short form video, in the same way that Twitter has mastered how to do text-based content. Take, for instance, Instagram's Threads. It clearly is lacking much of the features that Twitter has that has made it so important to people. Like, for instance, the trending page, or the ability to have hashtags. All these things that are a core part of what makes these text-based social media so interesting and compelling. Threads doesn't have that feeling of, this is the place to be for what's happening in the world, or I need to use a social media app to understand what's going on or what's trending. But yet, by adding too much features, Twitter is now risking its reputation as being the app that's where you go to know what's happening, to users going to the app and being like, what the heck is happening? Because there's just so much stuff and they don't even know what they're looking at. I think a good example of this is Facebook. Facebook has so many new features now, it's kind of jarring to even open the app because there's so much stuff that you can do. Whereas with Twitter, there's a simplicity to the platform. But here's the thing, if Twitter really wants to risk being everything, that's fine. But they don't have to do that and also compromise their entire brand. They don't have to change their company to X Corp, which just sounds like the name of a supervillain company Shout out to Lex Luthor. They can give people more features and a better experience without removing the Twitter from Twitter. But Elon also knows that Twitter's brand does have somewhat of a public image problem. And to a certain degree, it's understandable. There's a lot of negative content on Twitter. Some people associate it with just being straight up toxicity, and so Elon thinks to fix the problem, you simply kill the platform by creating X. But this is stupid. There's no denying that Twitter has had a mixed reputation in the past. It's negativity and also, shall we say, content that actually makes the new name seem warranted. But Twitter has also been a great place to simply communicate and express your opinions. The US Supreme Court even described it as the modern public square, which is a huge deal. In a world of social media apps that seem to be replicating one another and really not have any sense of uniqueness or character, it was nice to see a company like Twitter actually stick to their original purpose, a text-based vehicle for online discourse and discussing certain topics and trends. But now, Elon's desperate attempt to make money on Twitter after being forced to buy it in an unsuccessful lawsuit for the attempt to buy it in the first place, this has become a hyperfixation for Elon to turn Twitter into something that it's not. This includes calling tweets X's, according to Elon, which no one in their right mind will ever do, ever. As for the Twitter handle X on the platform, Twitter actually took the name by force. The original user who owned it was offered some merchandise in exchange, but that's hardly compensation. And the current logo is just one that someone randomly tweeted to him on a whim. Oh, sorry. X'd. Nope, not saying that. I mean, what's next? Meta changing their logo to Times New Roman? Better post a meta about that. That doesn't work. That's cringe. Part of me feels like I'm hoping that it's just some elaborate marketing scheme like IHOP or Fry King. By the way, I fell for both of those, and that's something I deeply regret. So I don't want to fall for it again. Elon, if this is some elaborate marketing scheme, please let us know, because you're dragging this on to the point of changing logos, saying we might have to say re-X instead of retweet. It's just too much, man. But no, I actually think this is legit, and it's so crazy because it shows a level of desperation that I just didn't expect from Musk. I mean, I get it. He wants to make money on the platform, and it's been lackluster up to this point, and he's done a lot to try and improve that, introducing subscription services and a Patreon-like system for creators on the platform. It seems like X is just a part of this larger vision for making Twitter profitable. Well, will this rebrand of Twitter to X change people's minds and make Twitter for the better? I don't know. Did Meta changing their name from Facebook make people think, you know what? Maybe this isn't the company that's been harvesting my data to advertisers. I did. I actually thought that, for real. Oh, okay. Well, personally, I'd say, of course not. X will always be known as just the company that formerly was Twitter. And even if a new generation of people decide that X is their preferred platform for communication, there will still be people like me who will be saying that X used to be a blue bird, dang it. And I will say the implications of this will nevertheless be very funny. It may come as a surprise that Elon isn't the first person to think the letter X was cool. There's Marvel's The X-Men, that movie franchise that Vin Diesel did, and then also pirates who've always had this interest in having a giant red X to mark the spot of their treasure. Do they still do that? I would like to know. Pirates, if you're watching, let me know in the comments. Outside of movies and marked treasures, there's also the fact that Microsoft owns the right to the use of X in the context of video games, hence Xbox, and Meta, interestingly, actually has a trademark on X in the context of social media. But neither one of them are the only companies that do. There's a ton of companies that have trademarks to the use of X. Now, most legal experts do think that this isn't going to matter, especially for the big players, unless, and this is a big if, they feel threatened by Twitter X. If anyone could be at risk, I feel like Facebook probably has the most cause of concern. Like I mentioned already, Facebook has a lot going on its app. In a way, I guess, to try and keep it relevant, they've included a shop. They have online dating on there now. Who's going on Facebook to date? I don't know. I guess it's the people whose eHarmony subscription expired and they're like, oh yeah, Facebook does it now. Now I can literally do everything on this app. And on that note, if X can really pull off making their own WeChat and everything app for the West, then maybe Facebook needs to pull their own petty lawsuit of their own. As for the other countless of companies that have trademarks on the letter X, there's potential for some of them to make a pretty penny from some settlement deals. But in the end, it doesn't really matter because Elon Musk has a lot of money to spend, arguably more than anyone in the world. And with that money means that this is going to happen. Twitter will become X, as we've already seen it is doing. But really the name is only a small part of what Musk is changing with Twitter. It's a change of identity that expands beyond the name, but to what Twitter fundamentally is. The changes that Elon makes will impact how people experience the app, or whether they even want to experience the app at all. The app, once called the modern public square, could lose what made it so unique. And while this will probably bring people to the platform and maybe even embolden the possibilities of what it can be, I don't see people rushing to Facebook because it has a dating feature, or Snapchat because it copied TikTok with Spotlight. Losing what made Twitter unique may actually be worse than simply improving the experience people already know, which many love and admittedly many hate. But if Elon could actually focus his time on improving that experience, he wouldn't need to rebrand the entire thing. He could make Twitter better, as opposed to making it into an X-shaped empty shell of a social media company that once was. Anyway, what did you think of the change of Twitter to X? Is it for the better? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a like. It helps the algorithm. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This is actually my first YouTube video on this channel ever, so thank you so much. I'll catch you next time.